The top 18 dirtiest NBA players of all time. Let's find out who they are. Number 18. Dwight Howard. Part of him is shown as the nice guy who likes to play and joke around. On the other hand, he pushes a lot, and he's a big man who slams you around with the body of a 7-foot Michelangelo figure. Howard has won Defensive Player of the Year 3 times and is a great defensive player, but a lot of that is because of how he gets into position, which is often by making illegal contact. Number 17. Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman is known for how well he defends and gets the ball back. His nickname is the Worm. Dennis Rodman played for the Chicago Bulls, the Detroit Pistons, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Dallas Mavericks, and the San Antonio Spurs during his time in the NBA. Number 16. Karl Malone. Karl Malone, who is also known as the Mailman, is one of the best NBA players of all time. Karl Malone spent all 18 years of his NBA career with the Utah Jazz, from the time he was a starter until the end. Malone is a great example of how a bunch of small cheap shots are much worse than one big one. He never threw a clothesline like Kevin McHale did, but he played much harder. Number 15. Steven Adams. During the 2013-2014 season, 6 stars were kicked off the team for hitting him. Is it because of how hard his screens are? Does that sound like a New Zealander? What's with his dislike of shaving? He's been punched in the groin 3 times by Draymond Green and once by Joe Ingles. He has also been in other fights, most recently with Chris Middleton. His actions are not acceptable, a coach from the Western Conference told the Los Angeles Times before. He throws elbows at people who hit him hard to get them to react. This is called a chicken wing. This might explain why he's been kicked out so many times. Number 14. Mark Jackson. Even though he was a small man, he was a great point guard. He was only 180 pounds, but he played like he was 240. He wanted to prove that he was as tough as everyone else on the floor, so he played almost cruelly. He was to the NBA what Tommy DeVito was to the NFL. Number 13. Chris Paul. He's the best at groin shots and is currently one of the dirtiest NBA players. At Wake Forest, it all started when Paul threw a haymaker right into the private area of Julius Hodge, who used to be a star at NC State. Paul's tricks would get him suspended for 1 game, but that hasn't kept him from moving up to the next level. He can use his small size as an excuse once, but grabbing or aiming at another man's crotch often is a problem. CP3's nutcrackers have killed Chris Kaman, Kevin Durant, and Rudy Gobert. When Paul comes to town, it's often a good idea to wear a cup. Number 12. Kobe Bryant. He did relax a bit as he got older, but that doesn't mean that the things he did when he was younger didn't happen, or that he wasn't still a little dirty. Bryant was the best example of a sneaky dirty player. His foul rate doesn't show how bad he was because he got away with most of what he did. We'll never forget how hard he worked both on and off the game. May he rest peacefully. Number 11. Rasheed Wallace. Rasheed Wallace, who is famous for coming up with the saying, "Ball don't lie," was one of the NBA's most well-known players during his time there. Rasheed Wallace's energy and love for the game, like those of most of the other players on this list, got him into trouble with referees and other teams a lot. Some of these things were funny, but others got people kicked out, or in some cases, suspended. Rasheed Wallace also holds the record for having been kicked out of the NBA the most times, with 29. Number 10. Kelly Olynyk. In the 2015 Eastern Conference quarterfinals, he pulled Kevin Love's shoulder out of its socket. This made it possible for the Cavaliers to win an NBA title. If you thought Olynyk's good play was a fluke, you should think again. He did it against the Bulls for the 2nd time. Then there were the playoffs, when Olynyk caught Kelly Oubre's hit stick after his bad screen. When Draymond Green has the nerve to call you dirty, you probably aren't as clean as you seem. Kelly is one of the dirtiest players in the NBA. Number 9. Kevin Garnett. The past Defensive Player of the Year was good at scaring opponents and getting in their faces. He did this by playing aggressive defense and getting in a few elbows to weaken the other team. During his best years, Garnett is known for his bad talk, and he made it hard for other players to play against him by setting up screens that made several players curl up and fall down in pain. The big ticket was known to go after the balls of other players, just like Draymond Green. Number 8. Bill Laimbeer. He was the worst of the bad boys, and he didn't care. He said that he did everything he could to win, and the results were clear. He has 2 rings. Lambeer was more than ready to throw an elbow if he could get one. He played dirty and was happy about it. He was a big star in basketball when it was at its most physical. Number 7. Serge Ibaka. When Serge Ibaka started dating Carrie Helson in 2012, he had no room for error. However, that has not been the case. He's as dirty as they come, and seems to have no limits, just like Chris Paul. You could make a case for punching a guy in the sack once, but hitting the same star twice in a year is ridiculous. Check with Blake Griffin. Ibaka is also a great attacker who starts fights on the court with almost every other player in the league. Ibaka's most recent fight with James Johnson didn't go well, though. Ibaka got in trouble with one of the few NBA stars you shouldn't mess with, so the black belt gave him a 2-piece. Number 6. Matthew Dellavedova. In a 2015 poll by the Los Angeles Times, NBA players and coaches picked the Aussie as the dirtiest player in the league. Dellavedova's sneaky moves were on full show in the 2015 NBA Finals, when he made NBA MVP Steph Curry very angry. Curry, who was always calm and in charge, was furious at Delly's strong defense, which was much more brutal than usual. Number 5. Bruce Bowen. Bruce Bowen is known as one of the best wing defenders of all time because he could read plays and played with a lot of heart. Bruce Bowen had a great run in the NBA. 8 times he was named to the All-NBA defense team. Bowen was a dirty defender in the NBA. When his opponents went up for a jump shot, he would put his foot under their feet. When the players fell, they would hurt their legs and knees. Number 4. Draymond Green. Only Chris Paul has more groin shots than Draymond Green. After hitting Steven Adams twice in the nuts in the same series, the man hit LeBron in the nuts, which probably cost the Warriors the title. Green is an all-around great player and a pain, but sometimes he may be too much. Number 3. Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley is widely thought to be one of the dirtiest NBA players of the 21st century. This is because he's tough, he does dirty things, and he talks trash. Beverley, who is 6'1", knows how to get a player to pay attention to him instead of the game. Because he is so good at defense, it's hard for judges to catch all of his sneaky moves. But once in a while, he does something so obvious that you can't argue about how bad the play was. Number 2. Zaza Pachulia. When he played rough, he always went after the best player and didn't feel bad about it. He tried to hurt Kawhi Leonard twice, once when he was with the Mavericks and once when he was with the Warriors. He's also been sneaky with Russell Westbrook. Is there anyone who liked Pachulia who didn't like the Warriors? He might have been the worst player on a team with JaVale McGee, and it seemed like he was only there to mess things up with his cheap shots and illegal screens. Number 1. Meta Sandiford Artest. In the summer of 2001, when Michael Jordan was trying to get in shape so he could come out of retirement and play for the Washington Wizards, the guy who used to be known as Ron Artest broke his ribs. The injury made it harder for Jordan to train, which made a lot of noise in the NBA. Thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for more.